So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up, have a look what you get inside the box. Here we've got the Worx Cordless brad nailer. So I thought I would get this instead of using my air ones for the new woodworking workshop. If you see in the videos, there's currently no power in there and there's currently no lights in there, anything like that. So taking the compressor over there, any power tools isn't really very easy at all. So I'm trying to sort of test out some more cordless tools, and this Worx cordless brad nailer looked like the bit of kit that was needed. So I used this brad nailer here, the silver line one, which is in another video. I used that to put up the walls in the current workshop, and then I've got the silver line stapler, air stapler. I've had to use that for doing the ceilings because the little brad nails can't take the weight of the ceiling, whereas the staples deal with that. Now this Worx machine is obviously a cordless tool and it can do brad nails and staples. So let's have a look. We're going to give it a little test. I've got some bits of wood, some bits of hardwood, some bits of plywood. We're going to test that out. So obviously comes in its nice sealed box again. It's formed plastic. I have actually already opened this, charged up the battery, because I started this video before and the battery ran out. So I've charged up the battery and we're good to go. So usual thing, instructions, which we should know by now. I don't love instructions, but you should read them. Another charger, so that gives me multiple chargers for my Worx tools, so I can locate them in different places. And then we've got the 2 amp hour battery, 20 volt 2 amp hour battery, which switches between pretty much all of these Worx tools. You can just switch this battery out between this one and the other tools that I've got. So I've got that should be charged as long as the cold hasn't killed it. And here's the machine itself. It is a beast. It's a beastie bit of kit. It feels very heavy duty. It's got a big rubber back to it, rubber textured grip handle, and I love that red anodized aluminium top to it. So it's quite a hefty old bit of kit. And then obviously the battery just slides on the bottom there, like so. But we'll just run through some of the other things quickly before we put the battery on, make sure we don't fire a nail in our hand. So as for settings and features, here you've got I'll flip it over, you've got the latch which releases the nail drawer, like so. And here you can fit in, you've got all your different rails for the different lengths of brad nails, etc. that you want to put in there. So you just flip that, and then you can fit in your brad nails that you want to put in there. Now you do actually get some brad nails in the kit. That's obviously your belt clip that you would you get if you want to put that on there. And then inside the box, inside the kit, when you get it, if I can get inside of it, let's just open that there. You get two lengths of staples. So you get 2 lengths of the staples there, and you also get 2 lengths of the long brad nails. So you've got the long brad nails as well. You get 2 lots of them. Generally what I do is I go on Amazon and I buy, these have actually been the ones I've been using. So these are just, I've been using shorter ones. These are just some shorter brad nails, but these are cheap and affordable. I mean, you get a big box of, what is it, 5,000 I think? 5,000, just, you get 5,000 in this box. And I'll put a link to these down below if you want to buy these. But these are just your kit of these are just your shorter brad nails, and these are what I use to put the walls up in the workshop. Obviously, as I said, they haven't got a massive, brad nails don't have a massive head on them, so with these they're fine for the walls, but when you go to put the ceilings up, because of the weight of the panels, they can pull off the brad nails. So when it comes to putting the ceiling up, I actually prefer to go with the staples. That way you've obviously got the 2 legs, and the head of the staple then goes around the plywood and stops it falling off, so that gives you a nice secure fit with that. So just to take a little look at the machine before we give it any testing, we've got our safety trigger here. So the safety trigger is always going to have to be pushed in before it'll let it fire a brad nail. So that's always got to be pushed into the piece of material, which is why the battery's not on, so I don't staple myself. That's always got to be pushed in before you'll fire a nail. And then on the top here, I don't know if you can see this on the top here, what you've got on the top is the power setting. So this wheel, which is nice and clicky, it's got a nice click to that. I don't know if you can hear that. It's got a really long range of power. So all the way to the left is the lowest power, and it shows you that the nails don't go in as far on that. And then all the way to the right is the highest power, and that's going to give you the most flush finish, and obviously that's what you're going to need on harder woods. On soft wood like plywood, you might not want to be putting that all the way to the top, because you could be going too far with your brad nail, and then the head won't be holding it as well. You've got your, like I say, you've got your grip, your textured grips on it, and then also you've got your trigger. So there's your trigger as you would expect. Underneath your trigger, just there underneath with your fingers, there's a little switch there, and that switch turns on these two LED lights that are on the front of the nail gun. So when you need to see what you're nailing, you can just pull that in with your finger, it will flick the lights on, and you can then get some light on the job that you're doing. You've also got, if I can get it in view, on the sort of back here, on the back edge, you've got a sticker here with a light. Now this light tells you if there's any issues. So it tells you if there's a nail jammed in there. It tells you if the battery is low, and then obviously it should be green. It's got, oh no, it goes green if you've got no nails, and it flashes green if it's overheating. So generally the main one you're gonna probably see is the low battery, or you might get a nail jam in there. Now if you get a nail jam, you do get, oh sorry, yep, it's in here. There's me looking for it. It's actually on the gun itself. So just down the side here, you can pull it out. It's nicely tucked in there. Get my little fingers in. Down the side here is a Allen key, just tucks in the side there. What you can do, what you do with that is, there's these four Allen keys bolts. So these 4 hex head bolts on the top here. If you remove them with this Allen key, if there's a jammed nail in the top, which it will tell you on the warning, if there's a jammed nail in the top, you can unscrew these 4, take this top section off, and you can take the jammed nail out, put it back together, and carry on. So that's what that's in there for, and then that just sort of tucks and pushes back in the side. So when I first saw this, I was like, wow, that's pretty big and bulky compared to sort of like the air nailers, which are obviously quite tiny. But what you've obviously got to remember is that this big section here is the motor, and all of these don't need a motor because they're working purely off compressed air. This doesn't need compressed air. You can take this anywhere and it will work by itself. You won't need to be worrying about pulling a compressor around with you. So let's pop the battery in there, and you can see there I've pulled the little bottom trigger. The lights have come on, so now that will help you see if you need to be seeing what you're doing. And I wouldn't normally be using, like I say, brad nails as long as that, but some projects will require those long brad nails. This is a new camera setup, by the way. I'm testing out a new overhead. I've got my GoPro mounted overhead above me, above this table, to try and see what that comes out like with videos. So let me know what you think of that. Do you like the overhead view like this? Let me know your thoughts. It's always trying to improve. So we moved that to one side. So the bits of wood I got out to test was a bit of hardwood sapele, small piece of walnut. Then we've got just some 6mm industrial or building ply. That's what my walls are actually. This is what my walls are. So I bought this in and that is what is panelled to the walls for my internal walls. And then there's just a thick old bit there of MDF, big old thick of nasty MDF. What we're going to do is we're going to test this cordless one against, we're just going to compare it. We're going to test this just to show you what that's like, but I'm also going to just show you it compared to the sort of air ones. So the other feature you've got on the on this brad nailer is, I don't know if you can see down here, just down here at the bottom of the sort of handle, there's a switch. You can switch it from either side. It's a bit like you get on a drill or a impact driver. If you switch it to the left, which shows just one nail, so there's a little picture on the side of just one nail. If you flick it to the left with the one nail, that will literally just fire one nail. So we'll try it in this, put it in this piece of wood just to show you. Put it up to high power because it is a bit of hardwood. So if you flick it to the one nail, push down the safety device. So you have to push down that safety device and then pull the trigger. There's our brad nail. I don't know if you can see it there in the top. It's a brad nail in the top there. It's nice and flush with that piece of sapele. So that has just let us, with that switch over to the one nail, push down the safety, pull the trigger, fires the one nail. Now that's obviously all well and good, but sometimes, like when I'm putting these walls up, you want to be putting a lot of brad nails in quite quickly. And that's where, if you flick it over to the other side, which has got a little picture on the side of 3 nails, so you flick that over there, what happens now is you pull the trigger in before you fire the nail. So you pull the trigger in now, the little lights come on, and it's now ready to go. So what happens now is, keep that held there, we'll just switch it to this piece of MDF. Now you're on the multiple nails. Every time you push down this safety device, it's going to fire a nail. So you can see there, you can put brad nails in, especially the long ones, which go all the way through the piece of MDF into your bench. As you can see there, come right out the other side. So they're nice and flush. If anything, you could probably reduce the power on that, because they're just below the surface, and they've gone straight through and out the other side. But what that does is, by putting it onto the multiple, it doesn't fire. You don't push it down and then pull the trigger. You hold the trigger, and then every time you push it down, you're going to get another nail. So depends which project you're doing, depends which one you're going to want. But one use I like to use the brad nailers for quite a lot is, split that way up, I like to use them quite a lot for, let's say I want to fix this piece of plywood and I want to screw it. So I want to screw this piece of plywood. I might even probably run a line of glue along there before I do it. But I know I want to screw this in multiple places. Now I could mess about trying to screw that and trying to make sure that it stays parallel on the top, parallel on the side. But what I often like to do with the brad nailer is, if I know I want that on there, I know I'm going to screw it, I often like to, so put it onto the single switch. I often like to come in and just, away from where I'm planning on putting the screws, just pop a couple of brad nails in there like that. That's now nice and solid on there. That's not coming off. It's parallel on the top, so this piece of plywood is flush with the top of the MDF. It's parallel down the side, so the side now matches. It's not going anywhere. That will obviously help the glue. If you put glue on there to dry up, you could not even use screws. You could just, if you put a nice bit of glue on there, nice strong wood glue, you probably won't even need screws. But quite often, if I now want to screw it, it's there, it's already held. I can just come in, I can either drill my pilot holes and countersinks, or if I'm using decent screws, like Screwfix Gold, they've got a countersinking head on them themselves, so I'll just come in and I can screw that down now, there's no problem. So, you know, if you want to do the same on this side, you want it flush, you want to screw it, but you just want to come in, just pop your 2 nails in, That's it now. It's ready to screw. It's not going anywhere. Like so. So the one I would normally have used would have been this Screwfix Silverline one. This has got little brad nails in it. They don't have as much control on these. Obviously, you can adjust the pressure on the compressor, etc. But they don't have as much control over how much power they're putting in. It's kind of more all or nothing. They still have the safety switch on the top, but they don't have the change in power. So we'll just stick a couple in with that. So we've got our extension airline cord. So these are good value, but you need the compressor as well, and they're not portable. So the other thing I find with the air one is it leaves quite an indent. It leaves quite a mark where it's put the nail, but it is still in there. It is still solid. So let's try. That's the air nailer, and then I also, like I say, for the sealing, I use, if it's not leaking, I use the air stapler, which does just give you more hold on the wood. I bought that originally actually for putting mesh onto a catio I was planning to build. That I was going to use that just to hold the mesh on. In the end, I used it for holding the ceiling up. So that's one use I like to use the air stapler, air nailers for. But now I'll be using this machine. So we're going to test it on a bit more wood, as you can see. So what we're going to do is we're going to test the power. So we'll turn the power all the way down to the lowest it'll go, and first of all we'll try that on this piece of plywood going into the MDF, and we'll see if the nail actually sticks up at all. So that's on the lowest power. This is a long brad nail, so as you can see, they're long. I wouldn't always use that long, to be honest. You can see, I don't know if you can just get that in camera's view, you can see the nail. It is protruding from the top by about 2 millimeters, so sticking out at 2 millimeters from the top. So as you can see, on this occasion, it'd be good to test it on a bit of test wood. Turn up your power. Probably doesn't even need full, so let's turn it to about half. About there. Yeah, so half power is pretty much flush. That's pretty much flush with the top of that piece of plywood. You're more going to need to turn it up when you start working with these hardwoods. So you've got this walnut and this piece of sapele. So what we'll do is I'm going to just nail this piece of walnut to this piece of sapele. We'll try it on lowest power again first. So there on lowest power, when we've got these hardwoods, you've got quite a bit of the brad nail sticking out above the piece of wood. I'd say about 3.5 mil on that. But then if we turn that right up to full, which you're going to probably need to do on these hardwoods. So on full power, that is actually just below the top surface of the walnut. So that's gone right through, and that's a long old brad nail. So we'll pull that apart, and as you can see, the brad nail actually stays in the bottom piece rather than the top piece. Because they have small heads, it pulls through the top piece of wood. What we'll try doing is put them on in the end grain. So I'll do it again on lowest power. Might be the same, you might want to line these up to be drilling them, to be gluing them. Same again, we're getting about 2 mil at the top. Turn it up. Probably don't even need highest power. We can probably go that's about half power. Half power's flush with the top. That's nice and flush. You wouldn't need to, If that was glued now, you could leave that to dry up. If you're doing a bit of furniture, I know you might not want to put brad nails, depends what you're building, but you could leave that now to dry up. The glue would then hold that. You wouldn't even need to put screws in there. Glue's a strong old joint. So I'm going to go back. And what I should do, to be fair, is I don't even know if this air brad nailer, it doesn't take as long brad nails as the this cordless one. That's got a really good range of brad nails it can put in there. You can take a lot of brad nails in there, very long ones, comes all the way up to here. So the air ones don't take brad nails as long as that. I don't think they've got the power to drive them in. Let's see if they even fit in here. No, so these ones that come with the kit won't even fit in the air nailer. It can't even take brad nails that long. So I can't show you a test of comparing of the same length ones. But just with the shorter ones. So you can knock them in there pretty quick with the air one as well, but you do really get a dent in the top. On this occasion, these little ones are actually going too far, so it's pushing that through there. But overall, I think I'll definitely, but this one I'm going to be using to put the walls up in the woodworking workshop. Probably going to use it to put the ceilings up in here, because I haven't done that yet. But yeah, so that is the Worx Nail Force Air Impact Technology brad nailer. It's a heavy duty, hefty bit of kit, and it's got some nice features on it. I do like the multi-switch to fire multiple nails, and it's got a nice power setting, which is nice and clicky on the top there. Yeah, it's a nice bit of kit. What else could we try with it? Not stapling myself, obviously, that wouldn't be one I want to try. Let's take a little look, 1 second. Okay, so I believe with these are the staples. You can see in the top there that there's a cutout or a staple, so you can't put it all the way up to this end. It doesn't work. If you push it to the back though, all the way to the back, that it fits the profile of the staple. As you can tell, I've read the instructions well. I haven't actually. And that then slides up there, and this piece of support down here on the bottom of the rail pushes up against the staples. So now we've got the staples in there. What we'll do is we'll turn it down to the lowest setting, because the staple's going to need a lot more power, because you're pushing the equivalent of 2 brad nails in. So we'll put that onto the lowest power. We'll go back to the piece of plywood and the piece of MDF, and we'll try that. And there we go. So we've got a nice, I don't know if you can see that, we've got a nice staple in there with about 2 mil sticking out. That was on the lowest power. That, we turn that all the way up to high, it's going to easily go through that. If anything, that's gone a bit further than you want, but like I say, this is softwood, so you can see the one that was on lowest power, the one that's on highest power. Easy to switch between brad nails and staples. That takes seconds. So we'll go back, try and put a brad nail, staple, air staple. We'll put a staple into this piece of hardwood, and then we'll switch it onto let's try the stapler on automatic. So pull the trigger in. We've just switched it over on the bottom. Pull the trigger in. No problem at all. That's in the sapele there. There's the staples, you can see them. So that's got no problems with that at all. Then all you'd literally do, ideally take the battery off, but literally just pull the trigger again, take out the staples, take your brad nails, push them up against the you want to push them up against the left hand side on there. push them in there, lock it back up. That's it. You're back to brad nails again. Switch it back to single mode. Off you go. You're back to nailing. So there's not a lot more I can say with that. Does exactly what it says on the tin. Does exactly what you'd want it to do. Does exactly what I want it to do. And yeah, you've obviously got the option, if you then want to, you could put a bigger battery, put a 4 amp hour battery on there if you want it to last a bit longer, if you've got loads to do. I do have a couple of these now 2 amp hour batteries, so I'll probably just charge all of them up when I want to put the wall up and do that. Any questions, anything I haven't tested you wanted to see, let me know in the comments below. I'll put links to this device down in the description. Really happy with it, great bit of kit. I think that'll get used a lot. Like I say, it's a great device for using just to hold things. So thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out the Worx cordless brad nailer and stapler. And I've got another video coming very soon for the Worx cordless sliding miter saw. I need to test that because my current miter saw is really on its last legs. I've had it a long time, and I'm going to try out the Worx cordless one, which also allows me to take that into the other workshop while I'm in there with no power. So yeah, thanks for checking out the video, appreciate it. And any comments, leave them down below. Anything else you want to see, leave them in the comments. And check out my other social media pages, and speak to you all soon.